in all the conversations that I've had with many different practice owners, it's a split bag. Like there's some folks that are terrified about AI, some folks confused by AI, very few excited about AI, but interested in learning more. And so I would say, actually, before I jump into how to solve it, I want to paint a picture just so everyone can because I'm sure everyone can relate to this. A very common problem in aesthetics, especially over the last 5 years, is too many leads from too many places, fragmented all over the place, coming at you from social media. You've got your social media DMs, you've got your Google ads, you have your Facebook ads, your Instagram ads, you've got your contact us forms on your website. Maybe you have a chat feature on your website. You've got your phones, you've got your regular texting. Like just listening to myself say all of those things, it's like madness. But it's very fragmented and it's very difficult to be quick to getting back to these leads, which has become more and more important as this industry has become more saturated. It's grown very quickly, but there's a lot more competition than there used to be.
When I look at kind of patient experience, the very first thing that I did and we did in our practice was to actually map the patient journey so you could identify in the various different funnels and points in your process exactly where you have some opportunities for improvement. So we looked at the acquisition process of your website, your phone calls, your chats, your leads, to once the acquisition becomes a potential lead, what does your conversion process look like? And once that patient engages in your system, how well do we do at providing an extraordinary experience to really tackle the retention aspect? So we went in and broke down basically every single time the patient and the staff interacted, to a piece of paper, to an automation, to a phone call, to a broken process, and really identified kind of what was our existing process like, where was there some opportunities for improvement, and how could we effectively integrate people, process, and tools, because the three of them really work seamlessly together to drive patient satisfaction.
Definitely a lot to go on there. I would say, AI and automation are completely transforming how aesthetic practices run overall. They are making the workflow smoother, cutting out busy work, and allowing providers to spend more time on what matters most, which is patient care. One of the biggest shifts I've seen is going to be the treatment documentation. So AI-powered encounter notes, which can listen to your consultations, transcribe the conversations, and generate structured notes automatically in whatever preferred format you like. And then these notes can then be actually actioned on, whether that's turn them into a task list for the staff, generating patient-friendly summaries to send out to the patients, or ensuring pre-procedure instructions are clearly documented. So what that means overall is, no more manual charting, no more forgetting key details. And since these interactions are fully transcribed, there's always a source of truth, similar to what Sharon said, if a provider ever needs to review a conversation.
I think it's really about completely changing your business model. So we started the company because we saw there was a parallel industry where it's hair care, where 95% of hair salons have no employees. They just rent the chair. Why is that? Because the practitioner owns the customer, not the location. And so it makes no sense to hire people when they own the business. It's like hiring a business when they're really building it. So we decided to basically do that, create a platform where you basically rent the chair, you sell the products, you provide all the support systems, but each individual practitioner is a spa owner.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Business Aesthetics Annual Expert Panel webinar on the evolution of aesthetic technology and software innovations. This engaging one-hour session is specifically designed to provide aesthetic professionals, practice owners, practice managers, and administrators with actionable strategies to strengthen and enhance patient communication, improve operational efficiency, and create an exceptional patient experience that drives loyalty and success, their leadership skills, and fosters successful, thriving practices. Thank you for joining us and our panel of renowned industry leaders as they share actionable strategies, best practices, and valuable insights to tackle the unique challenges faced by aesthetic professionals today. I'm going to just mention, we do have a very interesting gift for you that I'm going to have more details closer to the end of the webinar, but a little hint. Narain Arulrajah, who is the founder of the Business of Aesthetics Institute, is part of this special gift. So please, I'll make sure that I remember to bring that up and share that with you. But let me go ahead now and welcome our panelists for this webinar, Shannon Blake, Miguel Barcenas, Ignacio Fanlo, and April Linden. It is great to have you guys with us.
Thanks for having us, Michael.
Good to be here.
This is going to be fun.
That's what I like to hear. Some fun. That's always good. Fun. If I'm part of it, it's got to have some fun. That's the way I look at it. Well, today, with our Thriving Dentist with our Aesthetics Annual Leadership Expert Panel, we're going to dig into the evolution of aesthetic technology and software innovations. Now, this is a live event, so please engage with your peers, ask questions, and we're confident you will leave equipped with actionable strategies to implement immediately. But before we jump into the topic for today, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself and our panelists for today. And I'll start with myself. As a leadership coach, professional mediator, facilitator, and podcast webinar host, I'm passionate about helping set leaders and their teams up for success that matters. The focus on communication, conflict, and change, my team and I at Capstone Coaching help unlock and engage the full potential of an organization and its people. Our first panelist up today is Shannon Blake. Shannon is the Director of Aesthetic Partnerships at Podium. Passionate about building healthy and mutually beneficial partnerships, Shannon has cultivated trusted relationships with top groups and individuals in the industry, including AmSpa, MedResults Network, and more. Her focus is on delivering innovative, user-friendly solutions that empower aesthetics professionals to convert leads, grow revenue, and thrive in an ever-evolving market. Our second panelist is Miguel Barcenas. With 15+ years of experience in product development, Miguel specializes in creating innovative technology solutions that help aesthetic practices enhance efficiency, patient engagement, and business growth. Our third panelist is Ignacio Fanlo. Iggy, as he's known, is a seasoned executive with a background in finance, tech, and healthcare. He started in finance as a managing director at JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley before transitioning to tech, where he played key roles at Shopping.com, which was acquired by eBay, and led EdBright as CEO. He later co-founded Lively and founded Vansanity and CloudMed Spas, focusing on innovation in the medical aesthetics industry. His career is marked by leveraging technology to drive growth across various sectors. And our fourth panelist is April Linden. With over 25 years of experience in healthcare software, medical practice management, and consulting, April has worked with thousands of cosmetic surgery and med spa practices across the USA and Canada. She has played a pivotal role in developing and launching multiple software platforms that are now widely used in the industry, including patient satisfaction and review systems, digital marketing solutions, and practice management tools. Now you will see, welcome, it's just great to have you guys. I know from just going through those bios and having a look at you guys on LinkedIn and stuff, I'm excited about having you here, and I know that our listeners and our viewers are really going to enjoy this. So the main points for tonight's discussion, you'll see them on the screen now, and as I said, I'm confident we're going to have an amazing and very insightful webinar. We also have some great questions lined up for the panel tonight, and I'm looking forward to their insight, their best practices, and their passion. I know that that is an important part of just really getting to know what makes things tick and why they tick and why we're passionate about why they tick. I'd also, as I mentioned before, encourage you to connect with us through chat on any questions you might have, and for sure your comments to what's being shared. I'll try to respond to your questions as part of the webinar, during the webinar, but if I don't get to the questions, Alec, our podcast manager, will reach out directly to you with an answer from our panelists after the podcast with your question. So nothing will fall between the cracks, and we will make sure that you are valued and heard. I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share, and I am going to jump into the questions, and I'm going to start off with Shannon. Shannon, AI-driven communication has transformed how aesthetic practices engage with patients. How have you seen practices leverage AI to enhance patient inquiries and streamline appointment booking?
Such a good question, Michael. And I am thrilled to be able to dig into this one because this is a fun one. I would say in all the conversations that I've had with many different practice owners, it's a split bag. Like there's some folks that are terrified about AI, some folks confused by AI, very few excited about AI, but interested in learning more. And so I would say, actually, before I jump into how to solve it, I want to paint a picture just so everyone can because I'm sure everyone can relate to this. A very common problem in aesthetics, especially over the last 5 years, is too many leads from too many places, fragmented all over the place, coming at you from social media. You've got your social media DMs, you've got your Google ads, you have your Facebook ads, your Instagram ads, you've got your contact us forms on your website. Maybe you have a chat feature on your website. You've got your phones, you've got your regular texting. Like just listening to myself say all of those things, it's like madness. But it's very fragmented and it's very difficult to be quick to getting back to these leads, which has become more and more important as this industry has become more saturated. It's grown very quickly, but there's a lot more competition than there used to be. So pulling in AI, and where I get really excited, and everyone should be excited about this, is with the launch of OpenAI. I'm sure you all know about OpenAI, maybe known as ChatGPT, and there's a lot of other players coming out from various countries even. It's moving really quickly. But that has opened up some pretty cool features in tech to be able to support you all in solving that problem that very much exists today. And those are features like AI patient coordinators. And if you haven't started hearing about them, there are a few options out on the market today. I'm sure you're going to start seeing more and more of them popping up. But essentially, you can use AI to be an extension of your team, to be able to handle the leads that are coming in after hours on your website, longer the days that you as an owner or your team need to be working 24/7 to be quick to respond when you should be at home with your families having dinner or whatever it is you do in the evening. Now you can really implement an AI patient coordinator that can answer any lead coming in after hours or during hours within 2 minutes, which I know in the past, people's expectations of how quickly they're getting back to their leads has been, I think it's been come down to almost 5 to 1 hours, which is not terrible. But if you're not answering within minutes, you are going to be left behind. It is going to be critical to have some form of tech that can reply to all your leads within minutes. Because if you think about the world that we live in, the Amazons, the DoorDashes, the Ubers, like we live in a world of instant gratification. And when something's on our mind, we want something, we want answers right now. We don't want them the next day when maybe we had a moment in time where we were really interested in a treatment, but then slept on it. And now we've changed our minds or whatever it is, where it's not the hot thing in our minds anymore. It's so important that as a practice owner, you're converting those leads while it's fresh on their mind. And an AI patient coordinator can help you do that. So that's one way. And then also thinking about your phone system. You've got a traditional phone system that does not have AI and automation built in, you should be shopping for a new phone system, because there's really cool systems out there now where if you've got somebody who's calling during the busiest time of day and your front office manager is checking somebody out and handling a rescheduling of booking of an appointment and trying to get somebody signed up for your membership and they can't answer the phone, you've got a phone system that will turn that missed call into an active open text conversation, and then layer on your AI patient coordinator who will handle those questions about any treatments they have. And it starts to get really fun and interesting with how much more effective you can be at converting those leads. As well as some other cool stuff with phones like AI call summaries. Like think about being a business owner and being able to not micromanage your team, but be able to see if a call was made or if a call took place and 4 or 5 bullets that tell you what happened on that call without having to listen to the calls or read a transcription. AI within seconds can do that all for you. So you can feel as an owner of a practice very in tune and aware of how conversations are happening. Is the right information being given out? Are they bringing up that event that you have next week that you've asked them to help promote? Things to that nature. So a lot of different ways AI is helping and streamlining communications, but those are just a couple I want to highlight.
Thank you, Shannon. I think, the just the speed at which things are changing. It's we used to think change was something we could manage, and it was kind of a parallel to business. But change is the new normal. It's just the journey. It's part of the process, and we're not experts at everything. It's a question of how do you focus yourself? And I love the way you just broke that down. Thank you very much. Miguel, the next question is for you. And beyond communication, AI and automation are also revolutionizing day-to-day operations. How are they helping with tasks like treatment documentation, data organization, and operational decision-making?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to go on there. I would say, AI and automation are completely transforming how aesthetic practices run overall. They are making the workflow smoother, cutting out busy work, and allowing providers to spend more time on what matters most, which is patient care. One of the biggest shifts I've seen is going to be the treatment documentation. So AI-powered encounter notes, which can listen to your consultations, transcribe the conversations, and generate structured notes automatically in whatever preferred format you like. And then these notes can then be actually actioned on, whether that's turn them into a task lists for the staff, generating patient-friendly summaries to send out to the patients, or ensuring pre-procedure instructions are clearly documented. So what that means overall is, no more manual charting, no more forgetting key details. And since these interactions are fully transcribed, there's always a source of truth, similar to what Sharon said, if a provider ever needs to review a conversation. For the data organization example, there's tools, for example, like the one we call the AI Daily Huddle, which is like a morning game plan for your clinic, giving you a quick AI-powered briefing on your schedule for the day. So any open slots, key patient updates, as well as tasks to complete. And it's all delivered in a podcast-like recording that you can listen to on your way to the clinic. So it keeps your team organized, it reduces last-minute chaos, and it ensures every patient gets, the personalized care they deserve. AI can also change the game when it comes to operational decision making. So real-time performance dashboards, they can track everything from provider revenue, treatment profitability, and marketing ROI. So that gives practices a crystal clear view of what's working and what needs adjusting. And these days, AIs can even predict trends. So we use them in Simplas to spot frequent no-shows before they happen, or to flag low inventory levels so staff can restock proactively. I would say the key takeaway here is that AI and automation aren't just about cutting workload, they're about working smarter. So whether it's streamlining documentation, personalizing patient care, or making data-driven business decisions, these tools are turning aesthetics clinics into really lean, efficient, and high-performing businesses.
Thank you, Miguel. As soon as you talk about those treatment notes, I was just at my human doctor the other day, and she was telling me about. She was so excited about AI. She's going like, "This is great." I said, "Why are you so excited?" She says, "Well, I have 2 young kids at home, and for the first time, I'm actually able to go home and spend time with them as opposed to doing all my treatment notes. I've recorded them today. It's all been captured, and I can review it." And I said, that's it. Like this, sometimes this efficiency and improving KPIs is awesome, but we're, us as people, we're KPIs too. We actually, how do we protect the life balance? How do we make sure that we've got the time to go home and spend with your kids and do what you'd like to do? So I love the way you guys are placing this. There's so much. It's like, and to our listeners and our viewers, I just want to encourage you, really try and capture a couple of things you're hearing, a couple of points, something that's caught your attention, make a note of that, kind of a soundboat, and not as opposed to you'll be able to listen to this again, but just to capture a couple of things that you could say, I could be intentional with this and start this tomorrow. This is what I'm going to look into, as opposed to being paralyzed by just so much stuff. This is a bit like a fire hose coming at us right now, which is it's awesome input. But I just encourage you just to break it down and grab something you can use and take away and apply immediately. The next question I have up is for you, Ignacio. And as we move beyond AI and automation in patient care, cloud-based platforms are reshaping how practices operate. How do you see these solutions disrupting patient engagement and operational efficiency? You're muted, Ignacio.
Let me unmute. Yeah, I think it's really about completely changing your business model. So we started the company because we saw there was a parallel industry where it's hair care, where 95% of hair salons have no employees. They just rent the chair. Why is that? because the practitioner owns the customer, not the location. And so it makes no sense to hire people when they own the business. It's like hiring a business when they're really building it. So we decided to basically do that, create a platform where you basically rent the chair, you sell the products, you provide all the support systems, but each individual practitioner is a spa owner. And that just makes way more sense. In fact, when I've been to conferences, every single time, the number one problem cited is HR. And they think they have an HR problem, and they don't. They have a business model problem. They say, I hired 10 injectors, 2 are great, deliver great customer service, get response back, and 8, not so much. Guess what? The 2 great ones leave. In fact, there's a term for it, spa hopping. And the 8 bad ones stay. And they say, I have an HR problem. I said, no, you have a business model problem. You don't own the customer. So stop the nonsense, stop the insanity. Just rent the system. And that's what we do. In a few years, we've had 50 locations now, and that's what we're doing. We're renting to hundreds of providers. They're making $250, $300, $350 an hour. Working, talk about work-life balance, they're working 8 or 10 hours a week because the margins in the business are incredible, but instead of getting 15% of the gross, they're getting 50% of the gross. So we think this is a cloud-based solution. We have an AI native EHR we're working on. We have patient scheduling, payment processing, inventory management, all as part of the platform. And now it's like empowering the individual practitioner to be their own business owner, to be an entrepreneur themselves, and really take control of their lives.
Thank you, Ignacio. I love that idea that that you get to be, as if you have a passion to be an entrepreneur and have your own business. What a great entry point for that to happen, and removing some of the barriers of entry too, of course. Next question I have up is for April. And April, from a patient care perspective, technology is crucial in personalizing the experience. What strategies have you implemented to create a seamless, personalized patient journey with the help of technology?
Thank you, Michael. I think for starters, I love the fact that you encouraged audience participants to talk about being intentional. And when I look at kind of patient experience, the very first thing that I did and we did in our practice was to actually map the patient journey so you could identify in the various different funnels and points in your process exactly where you have some opportunities for improvement. So we looked at the acquisition process of your website, your phone calls, your chats, your leads, to once the acquisition becomes a potential lead, what does your conversion process look like? And once that patient engages in your system, how well do we do at providing an extraordinary experience to really tackle the retention aspect? So we went in and broke down basically every single time the patient and the staff interacted, to a piece of paper, to an automation, to a phone call, to a broken process, and really identified kind of what was our existing process like, where was there some opportunities for improvement, and how could we effectively integrate people, process, and tools, because the 3 of them really work seamlessly together to drive patient satisfaction. And in our particular organization, we prioritize patient satisfaction above all else. And so every decision that we make from the beginning of the day to the end of the day starts and ends with patient satisfaction. And so some of the exciting things that we've done as we map this patient journey is we saw some opportunities with automation and repurposing strategies like marketing and getting ratings and reviews to incorporate that into our sales strategy. And one of the things that I think is really exciting is everybody here knows the power of ratings and reviews, and how ratings and reviews, you create an extraordinary experience. It then evolves into some amazing stories that you're able to use. And you're only able to use it if you understand your sales process and how it fits in. So within kind of our organization, one of the things that I think is a tangible walkaway is we do something called a Wow Wednesday. And every Wednesday, our marketing department sends out a patient, like a happy before and after patient story, and says, here's Susie, and here's the procedure she had done, and here's a little background on Susie and why she chose our practice. And what ends up happening, we have a team of 25 employees who may or may not know about the physician that Susie went to see, but now we've created some buzz, we've created some content, we've created some excitement that the next person that picks up that phone, or that AI coordinator that Shannon has hired for us, will be able to then regurgitate that content. So what's actually super cool about this is this past week's Wow Wednesday was on one particular physician in his practice, and he came on, he commented on top of the before and after. He's like, this patient was so excited that she let me do a photo shoot for her. And he's popping up the actual photo shoots, which is not what's in the before and after gallery. And then the marketing extended team says, and you know what? We have got this beautiful podcast about this lady's story on why she's so overwhelmingly satisfied. So I sat back watching all these emails happen and thought, here's a compelling story that becomes part of our sales acquisition process. What do we do with this other than just share it internally? So what I did was, for this particular physician, and this is the beauty behind data and the beauty behind integration, is I said, let me go back and identify all of the consults that have never converted for the last year and a half on this particular procedure. Let me come up with a really engaging small SMS message to all of these people, specifically it's targeted, and get them to go read, have a happy patient tell the story for us that comes across a lot different than when we stand on the rooftop and go, choose our practice, choose our practice. And the impact of all of these things is we are creating the extraordinary experiences. We're maximizing the experiences as part of our sales journey mapping. And then behind the scenes, we're actually able to, we probably run about 50 reports a week. And we're able to kind of identify at what points in the sales process are we winning, and at what points do we need to plug some holes, and how can we do that? And so that's kind of a real simple strategy that we've done in our own practice that's yielded amazing results.
Thank you, April. And as we both agree, the only way that works is if we don't just plan to do it, we actually are intentional with it. Meaning we're going to do something. Intentional means to me, anyone on with us tonight, means that you're going to do something. As soon as you get off this webinar, you're going to do something different that leans towards something that you caught your attention, that's going to start setting you up for success in a more intentional way. And it's as opposed to, well, I'll have a look at all this tomorrow and plan, do one little thing different. With the speed of sound that everything's moving, it's almost like you just got to grab something and start it, and then start moving forward. So thank you, April. Shannon, I've got a question for you. So moving on to converting engagement into business growth, online interactions are often the first touch point with potential patients. What strategies do you recommend for converting website visitors and social media followers into paying patients?
Yeah, before I jump into that, I just have to say, April, my heart's over here so happy. I love hearing from practice owners that have their shit together, so organized in the way that y'all do. So like, mad respect for you. I love how intentional you are in breaking down the entire process of the patient journey.
So Shannon, before you leave, so there's a great soundbite, shit together, right there.
Part of my language. Just mad respect for that. Yes, really good question. So going back to when we started this webinar, you heard me mention it's very difficult because your leads are coming from so many different places, especially in this industry. So step one, you've got to have a system, some tech stack that consolidates all of that for you. As Michael mentioned, and there's a lot of different options out there, but that is number one. If you've got your contact us forms going into an email inbox somewhere that's muddied up with a bunch of other leads, guess what? You're not getting back to those within minutes. If you've got your social media DMs sitting in until somebody logs into your social page and checks your DMs, how often are they actually thinking to check those? Not a good strategy. So again, I know I'm like beating with a dead horse, but like you have to have a tech system that consolidates all of your leads, no matter where they're coming from, whether it's your website, your social or whatnot, into one system, because that allows you to be organized and then allows you to get back to those leads faster. If you've got the right system that makes it easy for you to do that. Generally, that's going to be through text. We all know the growing popularity of text. It's like old news at this point, but especially with this younger generation, they don't want to talk on the phone for various reasons that I'm sure you're all aware of. But getting back to those leads via text within minutes is like number one. And then talking about your website, if you still have a live chat on your site or like a decision tree chat that takes the person through a bunch of different flows that end up in a dead end, many a times speaking from consumer experience, you've got to get rid of it. You need something more modern, like a text chat, a web chat of some kind, where the form is very underwhelming. You're going to lose people if you ask for too much information. Your feature on your website, your text widget, should ask for their name, their cell phone number, and their question. As soon as they hit submit, they need to see that that question was received. They got a text on their cell phone, and now they can move on about their day, knowing that they're going to get a response from you, hopefully within a couple minutes, because you're using AI. Patient coordinator to respond, or that you have a tech system you've chosen that has a really robust mobile app that allows you to get back to those leads again within minutes. You're going to hear me say that a lot of times, but these folks, if they don't hear back from you, they're going to go to your competition that probably is like literally down the block from you. So getting rid of any live chat. So having a web chat that's text focused, turning those leads into text conversations. And then also some of those leads are not going to convert. Let's be realistic, for whatever reason. Maybe you have a consultation, or maybe it doesn't even get to that point, but having a really robust, some kind
of Shannon, we have just lost you.
Going back to what April's saying, being intentional about where the lead's at in that funnel stage, where if they get moved into a nurture state, you literally don't have to do anything. That person will receive. Oh, I'm getting your internet connection's unstable. Can you guys hear me?
You're breaking up a little bit, but just you probably just we'll get you to wrap up there, and then we'll just I'll give you an indicator. You might need to go just to audio when we come back on for another question.
Okay. Let me know, Michael. But what I was going to say is getting back to like converting those leads that are coming through your site or wherever they are. If you don't convert them, put them in a drip campaign. Have it be text-based, not email-based. Text gets a 98% open rate. Email gets 20, 30% at best. And then have those predetermined texts scheduled out, whether it's over 2 weeks, 3 weeks, have each of them say something different, and make sure that text is coming from your business line. You don't want to be sending 5-digit codes instantly. I'm sure you guys have all received those promos or those messages from 5-digit phone numbers. It doesn't feel like it's coming from your business. It just feels different. There's a lack of trust there. So having it from your business line, so that they know that that's the only number they're communicating you with, and that every text you send is two-way texting. One-way text where they can't reply to the text is a thing of the past. They need to be able to ask clarifying questions and follow up from that single phone number. So that's another piece of advice that I would give.
Thank you, Shannon. And just a reminder to our listeners and our viewers that if you have a question, please feel free to post it into the chat. I'll try and introduce it into the conversation here tonight, or any comments you'd like to make around what you're sharing. We'll be more than happy to receive those as well. I'm going to go to Miguel, and Miguel, I'm sure you'll agree with me that for practices to really capitalize on digital engagement, seamless tech integration is key. That's clearly what we're talking about here tonight. How can tools like scheduling systems, CRMs, and media sharing platforms help improve efficiency while enhancing patient engagement?
Yeah, I think it's very important to do that, and particularly to do it through HIPAA compliance throughout the whole tech ecosystem. So HIPAA compliance, as you know, isn't just about securing the patient data inside an EHR, but it's about making sure everything in that tech stack runs well without compromising security. So I would say when you do have the right tools in place, everything just makes sense. HIPAA compliant and integrated CRM, for example, can capture the patient inquiries from web chat, SMS, or social media, as Shannon stated, and push them directly, for example, into your EHR, automatically attaching relevant patient details that the doctor might need. You have AI-powered automations that can then follow up, schedule consultations, and send personalized outreach securely. And I want to emphasize that personalized, because here what best-in-class systems do is they take everything they know about the patient and they send personalized messages. That tends to convert 3 to 6 times better than generic messages. On our side, we're using AI in novel ways. So we have developed Simplast CRM to even be able to transcribe and summarize phone calls with prospect clients through HIPAA compliant technology. But it can also tag keywords within those conversations to automatically put the prospect in a marketing campaign. So if Michael, perhaps you called in, I have to schedule my Botox session, but I'm also looking at perhaps, a chin lipo or whatever it might be, Simplast CRM will start sending you educational emails and texts about that procedure. And the best part is they work. Secure scheduling systems, they make appointment booking and rescheduling a breeze, and automated reminders can help cut down on no-shows. And again, the focus here is when these reminders are HIPAA compliant, they offer the convenience without putting patient privacy at risk. And lastly, I would say, for practices that rely on before and after photos or virtual consultations, secure media sharing is a game changer, because patients can now safely upload images for review, while providers can send pre and post treatment instructions via encrypted messages, even secure video. So that eliminates unnecessary visits while keeping patients engaged and informed. A great example of that is, again, to have a great patient-facing app. So Simplast has one that includes secure messaging, media sharing, even telehealth visits, all in one place, so that patients can chat with their provider, get virtual care, and share treatment-related images without worrying about privacy concerns. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's integrating HIPAA-compliant tools, not about just checking a box, but creating a modern, efficient, and patient-centric experience.
Thank you, Miguel. You remind me of a conversation we're having on another webinar a little while back. A plastic surgeon was talking about AI and his emails out. He says, for the first time ever, I'm getting people responding to my emails, and they actually say they understand what I'm saying. And because now they're relevant, they're meeting the audience, they're capturing the data, they're communicating in the language at a level of language. And his calculation at the end of this first month, he had saved 14 billable hours in emails and having to duplicate and run them through. It's sometimes we're talking and the holistic nature of the platform and all these elements, and they're huge. I mean, the ability to do so many things so quickly is what AI really gives us. But it is like anything; it's garbage in, garbage out. By designing this in a way that you're. I always like to say, if you have a problem right now and you reverse engineer that, when you start to build it back up, you're just bringing in these new tools to look at this from a broader context than you used to. And it's kind of a whole new world that way. So thank you, Miguel. Ignacio, I'm going to go to you. And Ignacio, scaling a practice is a big challenge, especially as it grows. How can cloud-based solutions and other new technologies help aesthetic businesses achieve long-term growth and scalability?
Yeah, well, I'll get back to my original comments before. We have partners that instead of having 5 or 10 injectors, have 60 or 70 renters. And so they have a completely diversified revenue stream. They have no marketing costs at all. They have no HR costs. They're just a really sophisticated landlord of a aesthetic practice. They've converted from an old model where they're fighting their employees and having those scaling issues that really end up in the HR bucket. I mean, these things are great on the patient side that Shannon, Miguel, and April have talked about. Fantastic to streamline that process, but they're not your patients. These things should be sold to the individual providers, and the med spa practices really should just, in the end, be really sophisticated landlords. You can scale your business, and then at the end, you can actually sell your business. So having come from 15 years of Wall Street, I can tell you the vast majority of med practices aren't saleable because they're not diversified enough. Unless you have 6, 8, 10 locations, 50, 60 injectors, you don't have the revenue diversification, especially when you're trying to hold on to the top providers. And so it's really not a saleable entity to PE. Having said that, if you have one location, but you have 60 renters, you have a completely diversified revenue stream with none of the risks that all the other med practices are facing. The scalability is great, but unless it's sustainable, it means nothing. So this is a sustainable business model that's been proven in other fields and is converting. We're not the only ones. It's happening with others as well. This is really the wave of the future, and we have a model right in front of us, like I said, with hair care.
Thanks, Ignacio. And I think, I think any of these webinars we do, we're really looking at trying to bring a broad spectrum of options that are relevant to the current market conditions, the cultures we're working in, the circumstances we're facing, all those elements. I just so appreciate that, there's the unique difference that you're bringing into this conversation in that regards. I think that it's, we talked about succession plan, we talked about downstream. We probably have folks on the call right now that are just starting out, that they're excited about just getting going. And we probably have some folks that maybe are very much thinking about, what does this look downstream for me? Where's my retirement fund? And I really appreciate the way you're setting that up, Ignacio. April, I'm going to head over to you. And so, April, what technologies have you found most effective in improving patient engagement and overall satisfaction? And how do these technologies impact the patient journey?
Perfect question. I want to kind of take a step back and sort of share a little story to our listeners and get them to be aware of all the kind of shiny objects and really new and cool features and benefits and new chat tools and new phone systems, and say to the users that I'm in a practice now that has been around for 35 years. And we actually developed the first CRM software for plastic surgery back in the early 90s. And as software developers and as a practice that is committed wholeheartedly to patient satisfaction, it was sort of surprising to me when I came on during COVID to find out that this practice, so driven by data and satisfaction, had somehow managed to get attracted to all the shiny little squirrels out there and had 13 different software programs that they were using in their practice on a day-to-day operational standpoint in order to attract, convert, and retain patients. And so one of the things that we did is we said there's no way that we can scale with 13 different applications that we're expecting our staff to use. So as listeners are thinking about this, you need to remove the think and the feel, and you need to come up with a scorecard. That's what I developed. And you need to prioritize for your own practice what is most important for you. And if you go back and you look at your data and you understand where the issues are, is it a acquisition process? You need more leads. Is it a conversion process? You have a bunch of people coming through at the top of the funnel and they're falling out at every point along the way? Or is it that they come in for a one and done and you never see them again? So once you kind of understand your own practice flow and where technology can fit in, it allows us to really be able to step back and go, so our top 5 priorities were A, B, C, and D. And we were able to look at the shiny objects, look at the text platforms. We had a different phone system back then. We had a standalone photography system. We haven't even talked about photography and how that plays into this. So we went ahead and upgraded our tech stack from 13 to 4. And the biggest opportunity that we were really looking at doing, although AI is very new and exciting, it's harnessing the power of automation to replace a lot of the things that we were expecting our staff to do. So in our particular practice, we believe in touching patients a minimum of 7 to 10 times. And in our previous server-based software platform, everything that we did was a manual pick up the phone, or it was a manual open up your Outlook and push an email, or it was open up a separate platform and push a text out to this patient. And all of these communications lived in 19 different places. And when we upgraded our tech stack and we incorporated automation, the thing that we did was we combined the nurture campaigns Shannon kind of talked about all the way down to procedure specific. And in our nurture campaigns, what's really cool is because we are so data driven, we identified what's most important to patients and what drives conversions. So we came up with strategies that focused on what we knew worked, which was ratings and reviews, had a ton out there, and we had content specific to these different procedures, before and after photography. We know that that works, so we had procedure specific content about that. Podcast. We haven't really talked much about podcasts, but podcasts is the easy to digest information source today. And so we've been able to take advantage of the sending people to procedure specific podcasts. And then kind of the next big push that we had was incorporating our phone systems into our software technologies. So incoming calls would land in our software. We could actually see the entire patient journey. We could make marketing and business decisions based on what we could evaluate and we knew that was converting patients. And so I think what I would encourage the listeners to do is pick one or two things that you have the biggest opportunity to make impact on, and that you can align your entire team on it. You can set up a strategy that says, okay, our patient retention rate at this particular point in my mature practice is only 15%. And the way that we are going to re-engage with these patients that have a wonderful experience is maybe we're going to use the Podium platform, and we're going to start sending out promotions and specials. Maybe we're going to come over and we're going to use the Simplast platform, and we're going to be taking advantage of the phone to actual note transcription, and be able to incorporate all of that to develop some new content in order to re-engage those patients. And personally, by minimizing instead of joining on to every single opportunity, we have had a huge impact on that conversion rate, and really getting fewer patients to the top of the funnel and doing more surgery by being intentional.
Thank you, April. I hear, that I always think of this idea that, if I said to you, what do you want your story to be in a year from now, 2 years from now, and pick a couple of things that can get you there. And as opposed to, there's, as we've said, so many moving parts, but what does that look like? It's, again, having that vision for it, but then what are the things today that we could start working on and start making a difference with? Shannon, I'm going to head over to you. And we know online reviews are a huge factor in patient decision making. How can practices proactively manage their online reputation and use it to build trust with potential patients?
Oh, I love this topic, Michael. Okay, how do I simplify this answer? So I would say, before I answer this, I want everyone, I have a little bit of homework for y'all. I want you to, after this webinar, go onto Google and search top aesthetic practice near or in X city. Don't say near me, because your IP address will throw all the results off. But search top, what type of business are you? You a plastic surgeon? Are you a med spa? Are you just an aesthetic practice? Whatever it is you are in your city. And I want you to see if you are one of the top 3 spots, because that's important to understand. The top 3 spots are getting about 70% of the clicks for people on Google, which is insane to think about. If your star rating is under 4, you're not even getting surfaced by Google, because they don't want to be responsible for giving a consumer an experience that is not great. So just some things to think about. If you're not one of those top 3 spots, my challenge to you is to get there. So a couple of strategies I would recommend. First, have a strategy. I know some practices just hope that because they're offering these incredible experiences, people are just going to leave you reviews out of the kindness of their hearts with all the excess time they have. Not happening. So I would say do a couple things. One, your Google review request should be through text. You can send them through email as well if you're very passionate about that process, but you're going to see how much more effective sending it through a text would be. Even before you send that text out, which, by the way, there's a lot of really great systems out there that do this very simply. Podium's just one of them, is have a face-to-face, whether it's upon checkout or they're in your room getting a treatment done, sharing with them how important it is that how important it is that they take the time to leave you a review about the experience they're having and what that means to you as a local business and how much you would appreciate that. and asking if they'd be willing to leave you one, because now you've got a verbal yes. Then you can automate Google reviews to go out through text every time. You can't leave it up to a human to remember to send it after every client because mistakes happen. Your front desk folks get busy. If you can automate it after every checkout, do it. So you've got a verbal, like 99.9% of the time, people are going to look you in the eyes and say, yes, I'm willing to leave you a review. Then you get that text out to them that has the link to leave a review right there in the text. You're making it so wicked easy for them. And they should be getting that link before they even drive away from their practice. They can walk back to their car. They're going to see they got the text. They're going to remember they told you that they said they'd leave you a review. They're going to feel a little guilt if they don't. They're going to click on the link and they're going to simply write the comment, hit post, and boom, goes up onto Google instantly, playing into that algorithm that is very complicated. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in Google's algorithm, but as them being a close partner of Podium's, we do know that about 30% of that algorithm is the reputation of your business. And I'm telling you, in this industry, it is arguably the most important thing you can have for your business is your reputation, because y'all are influencing and adjusting faces and bodies, and that matters tremendously. So you've got to have trust. You have to have a good reputation. So that's one, those are a couple just best practices, I would say, in helping you get more reviews. But then bringing us back to AI, replying to reviews, many people don't actually know this, but replying to your Google reviews also helps boost where you are in that Google search. Google wants to know that you are reading the feedback, you're responding to the feedback, whether it's negative or positive, regardless, you're responding quickly. And now there's really cool AI tools out there that will just automatically reply to your reviews for you. You don't even need to take the time out of your day. And they're really good because a lot of them are built off the backs of OpenAI. So they'll look at what was left, the comment, they'll look at the star rating, and this AI can reply and reference back procedures that that person referenced, which guess what? That helps with SEO, and just very tailored, unique responses every time. So be on the lookout for systems like that that can take that work off your plate, because that's really important. Because for Google, they're looking at what's your star rating, how many reviews do you have, how often are you getting reviews? It's not good enough to have worked on your reputation on Google 2 years ago and then stopped focusing on it. They want to know that you're still creating good experiences. So the frequency in which you get them, and are you replying to those reviews? All of those things should be top of mind. And if you're consistent and you can automate for those Google review texts to go out consistently, and you're asking for those verbally, you're going to blow your competition out of the water. As long as you're creating good experiences. Let's go back to the initial point. You've got to be creating wow moments. So as long as you're doing that and you use tech to help make it easy for them to leave your review, you're going to win. So
thank you, Shannon. The again, I come back to that word we seem to be picking up, or you've got to be intentional with reviews. My background is in hotels, hospitality industry, and there's a 3 and 13 theory. That when somebody goes to a restaurant that's awesome, they'll only tell 3 people because they don't want anyone else to know about it. But they'll tell 13 people about the problem they had. And, the reality is we've got to get that 3 up, we've got to ask. It's like in a car lot, you got to ask for the sale. You've got to ask for the review. And there's so much, as Shannon just laid out, of how to do that without it just being a huge time burden. Thank you, Shannon. So Miguel, I'm going to come back to you. And so technology is evolving beyond basic record keeping for sure. How do modern mobile EHRs integrate AI, marketing, and analytics to benefit both practices and patients?
EHRs have definitely come a long way. They're no longer just the digital filing cabinet for practices. And before answering, I kind of want to go, the way to think about this is exactly the way that April set out, which is as you're thinking about what technology stack you do place, make sure you're holistically thinking about what you're trying to solve. Too many times in the medical space, in the medical aesthetic space, I see, small clinics start out with just like, a scheduling system, only to realize that it doesn't integrate with a great system like Podium, for example. So it's about thinking about this holistically and thinking about what ecosystem will I grow into. But the reality is that today's EHR/practice management platforms like Simplast are largely cloud-based. They're designed as mobile-first solutions, and they work seamlessly across multiple devices. So this is a game changer for providers and staff because it means they can manage patient records as well as operational pieces like scheduling and financials on the go. So think about it. A provider can hand an iPad to a patient to sign a quick consent form while they're dictating a consultation summary using an AI note taker on their phone. And at the same time, the front desk is checking out another patient and processing their payment on a desktop. Everything's connected, happening in real time, and it's securely stored in the cloud. So you get rid of bottlenecks and you make sure that you're not missing paperwork. But as we've talked about today, it doesn't stop there. AI is truly revolutionizing patient engagement. So with tools like SimpleSCRM or Podium, that engagement of being instant, of a patient being able to visit a clinic website at 1 a.m. and get immediate answers through an AI chat or even speak to an AI that books their consultation on the spot is amazing. Within that, patient retention. So automated patient re-engagement can ensure that no one's fallen through the cracks, whether that's a Botox reminder at just the right time or perhaps a follow-up message after a consultation. And then lastly, I would highlight on the kind of operational side, there's a lot of use on AI into aspects like patient summaries. So these instantly pull together past patient visits, health information, financials, even outstanding tasks from your EHR into a summary that's easily digestible and allows providers to deliver highly personalized care with minimal prep time. And then finally, on the kind of analytics portion, it's these systems are really getting great at helping clinics master their business decisions. So if I want to identify my top performing treatments, analyze my revenue by provider, or even track my marketing ROI, it can all be done very easily, sometimes even by prompting it, much like you would ChatGPT. And even scheduling is getting smarter. AI can now predict no-shows and automate follow-ups, helping reduce cancellations. So yeah, Michael, I think the bottom line is today's EHRs are definitely no longer, again, just those record-keeping systems. They're truly the backbone of a thriving practice. And integrating those tools that you mentioned, AI, marketing automation, and data analytics, is going to supercharge your clinic efficiency, improve patient engagement, and drive real revenue growth.
Thank you, Miguel. Now, I hope there's something in AI that's going to help get my caramel macchiato double shot in my hands faster. That's all I'm saying,
Got to make the leap to robotics.
With that printer just isn't working for me. So thank you very much, Miguel. Ignacio, I'm going to circle back to you. And as we look to the future, what role do you see cloud-based platforms playing in the aesthetics industry? And what should practices consider to stay ahead of emerging trends?
Yeah, it's fun. First of all, thanks, Mike, for hosting us. This has been really informative for me. I've learned a lot from the other panelists. I think the review thing that Shannon talked about, I'd say two things. One is really important. I do believe that the reviews, though, are provider specific. You don't have the same treatment from every provider in a clinic. Each one is going to be reviewed individually. That's really where the rubber meets the road. It's not clinic based. That is, I think, the old model. It's not where things are headed. And the other thing I think we're going to end up with is more of a wellness center. We're starting to see it in our systems now. We're not just cloud med spas, oddly. We've become, for lack of a better phrase, Airbnb for medical space. We've now got orthodontists and dentists and others that do this, but also just have unused space. And we've got other wellness providers, massage therapists, chiropractors are looking to rent space. So we've become that. And interestingly, and I'd say this, I'd look at med spa owners directly in the face and say, don't be emotional. Don't be emotional about your business. This is business. Be practical. Don't get stuck in it. And we've had more difficulty converting med spas to this model, interestingly, than an orthodontist who sees our business as just a way to turn underutilized space into cash, like you would anything else that's not being optimized, as opposed to I picked a model that was wrong, but I'm stuck in it because it's a decision I made in the past. And the failure rates of med spas is so high, you really have to take a sharp pencil to it.
Thank you, Ignacio. That's, again, just bringing this into that focus that it's no longer an option. Just status quo it never has been a good choice, but it sure isn't anymore.
Yeah.
What is that? We're not in Kansas anymore.
Your only risk is not taking any.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Bingo.
As we're just wrapping up in time here, April, I'm just gonna if you might give us a short answer on as aesthetic technology continues to evolve, how do you stay ahead of emerging trends, and I guess how do you decide which innovations to integrate into your practice? I guess be intentional with them.
Yeah, I really I love that word, intentional. I think one of the things that we do in our practice is we're always looking to see what's available, which is part of the reason we ended up with 13 different platforms in our practice, which is a good thing and a bad thing. That being said, with all the different options out there from a very data-based perspective, the choices that we make are based on the holes that we see or the opportunities in our practice. So there's basically 4 things that we have, we're either actively incorporating with all these trends that are happening, we have incorporated, or it's on our horizon based on where our data has told us that we are missing some opportunities. So one thing during COVID that we all learned about was that there's so many things that you can do at home without having to be in an office. And so we got introduced to a concept called online events. And once again, looking at an online event, okay, everybody can do a Zoom, everybody can do a Google Meet, who cares, so what? Well, the beauty behind the platform that's out there is this platform allows content to be available 24/7. So you are able to host a meeting, it's interactive, and then you can go and you can reuse that content. The beauty behind it is it becomes part of our automation to patients who are interested in a particular procedure. The second thing that we have identified that's a huge hole in our process, and Shannon has commented on it quite a bit, which is time to conversion and how long it takes you to actually get back to that patient that submits a web form. We sit down every single day and we break down every single web form and look up and see how long did it take us. And we can see overnight, we get probably a good 10 to 20 leads at night. And it's a huge missed opportunity, because when you get back to them the next day or even way late in the process, we've missed the boat on them. So one of the things that we're giving a whirl at is that concept of the AI coordinator. We're going to see how well does that AI coordinator, what does the conversion rates look like for the person that's eating ice cream at 12 a.m. in the morning and going, I think I want to have a tummy tuck while I finish off the gallon of ice cream. Little mixed message there. So we've got that as an opportunity. The other thing that we really like is the AI as it relates to the phone systems. We use Ring Central in our own practice here, and the beauty behind some of the AI tools that are out there is it allows you to transcribe your calls. That's all great, that's all fabulous, but data, and we have scorecards that we've developed, what a surprise, for everything that we do. So we teach our staff, this is what you do, this is how you do it, and then we go back and we hold them accountable. And the beauty behind some of these AI technologies is now we can feed them our scorecard. It can go back and it can identify how effective our staff is. And the other cool thing about the AI that I like, that I don't necessarily know anybody talked about, is if you know in listening to your calls, or you know in being strategic with conversion, what kinds of words are driving conversions, you set it up for your AI and you're telling your AI, how many times do you hear the word financing in these calls? Are they doing what we're telling them doing? How many times do you hear the word, the cost is going to be this? How many times do you hear, can I schedule? And so it's incorporating what it knows that you know to convert calls and how effective your staff does. And then the last thing, we're a real lover of podcasts over here because it's digestible information that can be repurposed across all panels. So 4 things, but once again, what the 4 things that work for me aren't going to necessarily be the 4 things that work for you. But if you love data, you're going to figure out where your holes are, and you're going to use data in order to help you prioritize all these shiny objects out there.
April, thank you so much for that. And I just so appreciate our time is coming to an end. So I do want to just circle back around. You guys have done an amazing job. I mean, my goodness, I don't know where to start, all the things we've covered, but I do want to just come back. You remember I mentioned that we have an interesting gift for you, and here it is. As a token of our appreciation of your time and participation, we want to offer all of our viewers and listeners a free marketing strategy meeting, which is probably a good idea given some of the things we're talking about, with Lila Stone, who's the Business of Aesthetics and Marketing Director for Equa Marketing. Lila has established herself as a trusted expert in digital marketing, is passionate about empowering medical professionals with the marketing tools and knowledge to stand out in what we all know is a very competitive market. You can see on the slide in front of you that Lila has considerable specializations, and this is a gift from the founder of Business of Aesthetics, Narain Aroja, who is also the CEO of Equa Marketing. And as I mentioned, they are a digital marketing organization specifically for doctors, aesthetic practices, their teams, and their managers. So if you go to businessaesthetics.org/MSM, you'll see that'll be in the chat. You'll be able to go ahead and book a complimentary session with Lila at your convenience. And you'll also find it posted on our website as well. Now, I do want to just put two questions out, and it kind of sums up a lot of what we've been talking about. When you have an opportunity like this put in front of you, the first question is, what's at risk to go ahead and book a session like this? What's at risk for me to step out and do something different than what I'm doing now? Well, at the outset, it's time. That's all it is. There is no cost to actually ponder that. But the real question, and I think, and Ignacio kind of brought it around, the real question is, what's at risk if I don't? What's the risk if I just stay status quo? What's the risk if I don't reach out and get take advantage of this opportunity? I'll let you make that decision. And I am just going to go ahead now and thank our expert panel, Shannon Blake, Miguel Barcenas, Ignacio Fanlo, and April Linden. You guys provided so much insight, awesome best practices, my goodness, and seriously actionable content. Thank you so much. Collectively, you've made the complex simple, the hidden visible, and arguably the difficult easy. Secondly, thank you to all of our attendees for the privilege of your time and your participation. Without you, we don't grow together and set each other up for success. A reminder to like and share and review us. We love reviews on your favorite social media and be a part of someone else's success. So until next time, on behalf of our panelists, keep striving for excellence and exceptional patient care. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.